Now, we already know that Putin's health was going downhill. That's why he went to China to ask Xi Jinping if he can get some organs from the Chinese black market. But now it seems Putin's brain has officially stopped working. And this humiliation was very public. At his most recent press conference on November 27th, he was asked a simple question. But while he was answering, he just forgot what he was supposed to say. Take a look. He tells a joke and then he forgets what the question is and what the answer is supposed to be.
And Kirill Dmitriev. What do you think about this? In the West, this is now a very heated scandal, especially in many Western media outlets. And now there is a real attack on Witkoff. So what do you think about this? Thank you.
Regarding these leaks, they could be fake. Could be genuinely overheard conversations. Actually, it's a criminal offense to eavesdrop. In our case, at least. Eavesdropping is not permitted. After all, some of them, as we joke, they put up surveillance and they eavesdrop. Let them mind their own business. But you have to know how to peek. I will now explain what I mean. I don't know the essence of these wiretaps, the essence of these leaks. Well, you understand, you see. We get up here in the morning, from morning till night. Right after all the events were over, I came to you.
I think Putin is forgetting that when he started his career as a lowly KGB agent, his whole job was supposed to be eavesdropping on conversations in East Germany. But before we get to that, let me show you where this press conference was taking place, because it's laughable how scared Putin is of anything Ukraine. So, he went to the former Soviet state of Kyrgyzstan, and he went there because he wanted to make sure not every one of his former Soviet allies just abandoned Russia while it's suffering. But even while in a different country, he was scared of the Ukrainian embassy. Unfortunately for Putin though, the Ukrainian embassy was right in front of where he was staying. So guess what Russia did? Do you see that big billboard that was built in front of the Ukrainian embassy? Well, that was to hide the Ukrainian flag from Putin's view, because apparently he has this bad habit of just bursting out crying if he sees a Ukrainian flag. Now, that billboard wasn't there before his visit, and take a look at what it looks like from Putin's angle now that the billboard is there. The board is specifically designed to block the Ukrainian flag that's flying in the Ukrainian embassy. Now, I know some of you guys may be laughing at the fact that Putin is so afraid of looking at the Ukrainian flag, but let me remind you, it's a condition, and we should not be making fun of the disabled. Now, unfortunately for Leader Vladimir, he could not avoid Ukrainian questions at his press conference. And there he was asked, when will Russia stop this war? Well, according to Vladimir, he'll stop it once Ukraine leaves the territory that it's occupying. And I don't know what he means by occupying, because Ukraine has been in control of that territory since 1991. Russia never actually succeeded in taking over Donbass, and now he's claiming that it's Ukraine that's the one that's occupying Russian territory. Take a listen.
The world has been wondering, is Vladimir Putin ready to end the war, to back the peace plan America and Ukraine have been discussing? No sign he's in a hurry.
Overall, we agree it can be used as a basis for future agreements, but it would be impolite of me to speak about any final versions of a plan, because there are none. It is clear that we need to sit down and discuss some concrete issues. Everything should be put down in diplomatic language.
No compromise from the Kremlin on its key territorial demand that Ukraine simply hand over to Russia the parts of the Donbass Russia's army has so far failed to seize. If Ukraine leaves those territories, hostilities will end, Mr. Putin said. If they don't, we'll make that happen by force.
Now, according to Putin, if Ukraine doesn't leave these territories that Russia wants, then Russian army will just take it over. I'm sure that will go according to plan. After all, this is a 3-day special military operation. And the reason 3-day military operation is still going is because it's just so successful. Why stop it? Now, according to Putin, he's willing to fight for all the territory that he wants, even if that means he has to fight till the last Ukrainians. I don't know if the Russian army agrees with that, but who cares? They don't have a say in this.
What's happened in Kupiansk also happening in other parts of the front. then a collapse will be inevitable.
Now, I want to remind everyone that on October 28th, so almost a month ago, no, more than a month ago, Putin said publicly that Russian army had surrounded Kupiansk and Pokrovsk, and the city should be under Russian control in no time. Well, it's November 29th today, and Russia still hasn't taken over the city. So I don't know if the Russian timetable is different than what we follow over here. Maybe Putin means something else when he says the city should be Russian in no time, but the city is still not under Russian control. But you see, for Russian propagandists, it doesn't matter what's happening on the battlefield. All they care about is what Putin is saying. And now Putin is saying that he'll take over Ukraine soon. They're back to a new timetable. According to one propagandist who lives in UK, I think, by Christmas, Russians will be in the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. Take a listen.
So it depends how long all this goes on. But at the rate of advance, Terence, the pace of conquering that the Russian armed forces are now involved in, well, they could be in Kiev by Christmas, certainly by the Orthodox Christmas. Now, I don't believe that they want to do that, but the way that events are unfolding, I'm not sure that we can predict safely that they will not.
Now, for those of you who are not familiar, Orthodox Christmas is on January 7th. Now, when I first heard this, I thought that was an ambitious timetable. But then again, my Russian is not very good, so maybe I thought it's some Russian thing that I'm not understanding. And as I cover Russia more and more, I am getting better at picking out what they really mean. Now, if you listen carefully, he said Orthodox Christmas, but he did not say the one that's coming up. He never said the year. So maybe it means some year in the future, not necessarily 2026. Because if you guys remember, Putin himself said that he'll be in Kyiv in 3 days. But now that we're getting better at Russian, we know that 3 days doesn't mean the same thing in Russian as it means in English. Maybe this is the same case here. Now, here's the proof of all the Russians saying that they're about to take over Kyiv. But remember, these are all the clips from 2022. Take a listen.
Осталось буквально несколько дней. Как вы знаете, танки на подходе к Киеву. Уже танки в Киеве. Танки уже возле Киева. 3, 5, максимум 8 марта. Бровь поднимем, и Украина поймет все. Возьмем Киев. Эта война продлится, максимум 3-4 дня. И Киев будет взят так быстро. 1,5-3 дня. 2 дня. Потом падение.
Now, as you guys know, Putin promised he'll be in Kyiv in 3 days, and he'll deliver on that promise. After all, little Vladimir is not the type of person who backs down from his words. That's why it's important to take it seriously when he promises anything. And just recently, at this same press conference, he also promised that Russia has no intentions of invading Europe. And he's baffled by the fact that some European countries are preparing for war, when Russia doesn't even want to take on Europe. Take a listen.
We have to translate it into diplomatic language. One thing is to say that Russia is not going to attack Europe. It's funny for us. It's laughable because we never wanted to attack Europe. Okay, let's put it in writing. But there are some people who are not particularly, shall we say, with us. I don't know. There may be some crooks. They are telling their population that Russia is getting to attack Europe, and we have to strengthen our defense. I'm not sure whether they serve the military industry interests, or maybe they try to basically increase their political ratings. It's very difficult to say, but
now, let's not forget, this is the same Putin that promised that he would not change the Russian constitution to serve more than 2 terms. And guess what? We actually have this in writing. This is a book that Putin himself released in 2000, so right before he was supposed to have his election after he took over from Yeltsin. And in this book, he promises that, hey, he does not want to become the next czar. But 26 years later, he is still in power. So I'm guessing that promise meant something else in Russian. Now, he also promised that he would not go into Crimea, he would not take over Ukraine. Then again, all those promises did not actually play out. Not his fault, guys. We just don't understand the Russian he's speaking, so we should take the blame. Now, talking about this book, by the way, we'll have a video coming out breaking down this book in just a few days. But in this book, he also talks about his early days as a KGB agent. And one of his jobs is actually eavesdropping in Eastern Germany. But now, Putin is a changed man. And now he's very publicly saying anyone who eavesdrops on other people's conversation should go to jail. Take a listen.
Well, as to the leaks, as they say, it could be fake or it could be an eavesdropped conversation, which is a criminal act in Russia, by the way. You cannot just eavesdrop. I think those who are eavesdropping must be tracking their own affairs better. But even if you're trying to spy on someone, you should do that with skill. So, I don't know exactly about the nature of those leaks, but you see that I have a busy day. We had a meeting with Mr. Witkoff before Anchorage, then I went to Alaska, and we had talks. On the whole, I got the impression that we understood where we stand and what should be done to stop the war. Then we went back to our capitals because we had to think and to consult with our ministries, with our allies. And after that, we agreed to continue the conversation. Lavrov and Rubio met in New York at the sidelines of the General Assembly meeting, and they did have a conversation, but I cannot say that there was any conflict between Russia and the US. We stayed on the Anchorage platform. And then the United States announced sanctions against our two major oil companies. Where did that come out from?
I think he's on the right track with his thinking. If he just thinks a little bit more, he'll figure out that who's leaking all this. Let's remember, it was Putin who started blaming Lavrov after his meeting with President Trump fell apart. And that's when someone leaked something and Lavrov came back into the picture, started blaming Kirill Dmitriev. So I think if Putin just puts his mind to it, he'll figure out who's the one breaking the Russian law. And maybe he should send Lavrov straight to the gulag. Now, as many of you guys know, Russia has been attacking Ukrainian civilians non-stop over the last few months. Every single night, Russian drones and Russian missiles fly into Ukrainian cities and they hit Ukrainian apartments, Ukrainian malls, and even Ukrainian schools. As you can see from the clip on your screen, just roughly 10 days ago, on November 19th, Russia hit a couple of apartment buildings in Ukrainian city of Chernobyl, and 6 kids died there because of the Russian attack. Now, one of them was just 1.5 years old, as you can see from the clip. This is a deliberate Russian strategy to put pressure on the Ukrainian society so they just give up the will to fight. This is also why Russia is going after Ukrainian schools. And just recently we covered they used a drone to go after Ukrainian kindergarten while people were studying inside. That's why we partner with United 24 and we're starting our own campaign to do whatever little we can do to help out Ukrainian kids. This campaign is focused on safeguarding learning environments in Ukrainian schools. You can help out by donating using the link in the description or QR code on your screen. The money that you donate will go towards providing opportunities for students all across Ukraine while this war is going on. This would mean just modern bomb shelters for schools, power generators so they can continue studying even when Russia hits energy infrastructure inside Ukraine, and everything else that might be needed for the educational process to go on uninterrupted in a time of an attack. And just remember, every donation counts. Doesn't matter how big, how small, it makes a difference. So you can donate using the link in the description or scanning the QR code on your screen. Donate whatever you can, however much you can. And if you can't donate, that's perfectly fine too. You can support the campaign just by engaging with this video by hitting the like button or dropping a comment. That tells YouTube that this video should go to more people, and that way we can get more donations. That's it. Thank you so much. My name is Sam, and I'll see you guys in the next video.